It is indeed very humbling experience to be in the midst of very eloquent and intelligent speakers like Michelle. Thank you so much for the insights about being agile, being new, and going out there, taking away the box. Eli, I think it's very relevant talk, GDPR, DPA, and when I was doing that, I was texting my team, are we DPA ready? Are we sure that we have all of those things in place? Are we sure that our referral system is DPA-proof? So thanks so much for that reminder. Tim, it's a great story. It's also a touching, transformative story that I'm sure many of us has been inspired, and I'm sure many of us will truly be following those steps as well. And AVIC, among the many other topics here, I think AVIC's theme is really more relevant for me because here I would like to share with you. Usually, I'm known to talk about numbers, and great that the AVIC has some numbers, but because I will leave numbers with AVIC, I'm really here to share with you my personal stance in terms of leadership and wellness. Who among you here believe that health is wealth? Thank you. We know that it's an old adage. It might be even treated as cliche. But for me, it has never been more relevant, more impactful than today. Why do I say that? Essentially, even if you reverse it, there is still some semblance of even health or wealth driving health. As you can see in the chart, even life expectancy has actually grown as nations become even wealthier year on, year out. We have invented a lot of cure. So malaria, cholera has now been eradicated. Even polio, which has pestered nations years ago, has almost been eradicated globally. Now, even prevention. Can you imagine that even a prick of a finger with your blood can actually determine whether you're prone to cancer? And if you're in stage 1 and 2, which is the phases where you can actually prevent them from actually devastating your body, that is actually an innovation that would benefit a lot of people going through the cycle of cancer. And also, because of all of these experiences, we've seen that, Michelle actually talked about it, that we're not just talking of one-time career in our lifespan, but multiple careers, because we're now even thinking of 65 not being the mandatory retirement age, given the lifespan of people. And that gives me a lot of hope because I am a frustrated cook, and I plan to be a restaurateur after being in the corporate world. So I hope I'll have more time for that and hopefully have more success in that as well. However, if you reverse that, actually and ironically, wealth could also bring about degrade in health. Do you think so? Globally, as countries actually progress, there are more diseases discovered that are related to lifestyle changes. You gain more weight, up to the point of getting more obese, right? Diabetes has been actually an affluent country disease because you eat more, you have more carbohydrates, you have more sugar. And more life, or the quality of life, has been poorer. You're wealthier on one side, but you're poorer on the other. And then it becomes not just physical health that is a concern. It's a really more holistic issue. Not just your blood pressure, not just your weight, not just your eyesight. It's how you feel. What is your disposition? It's very ironic right now that in a very connected world, why do we feel more alone, more isolated, more lonely? Very ironic. And loneliness, sadness, depression, anxiety has been the major plague globally. And we don't know. Maybe it's one of the main reasons why people actually commit suicide. And it could be one of the reasons of death, because it's just not diagnosed as such. In the Philippines, as we have grown progress, and thank you, Rebecca and Richard, for actually supporting the Philippine economy through the IT BPO industry, But even in that industry that is very close to my heart, we're also experiencing a lot of issues already, as you can see in the chart. Those are also lifestyle-related diseases and changes. Stress has been rampant. Richard talked about the overwhelmed, stressed people. So many stimuli, so many things to be done, so little time. We are overwhelmed. We are under stress. And that's why I'm not surprised that cases of depression, mental health issues are also increasing year on, year out, specifically in the IT BPO industry. And I'm happy that our IT BPO, IBPAP, is actually looking into this in coordination with ILO and also with our World Health Organization. And I would like to join you to support this worthy cause, because what we will do with our wealth if our health is also suffering. That's why in our midst, in a corporate world, we as leaders and HR practitioners actually has a great role to play. We are influencers, and we have to start with our own backyard in our own organizations. This is not just anecdotes, because there are very specific literature that you can just Google up and even survey in medical journals. Even your disposition, sometimes people will ask, kamusta naman dyan? Kamusta ang panahon? May bagyo ba sa loob ng kwarto ni sir or ni ma'am? You create the kind of tone and kind of environment that sets it for each and every employee that reports to you. So it says in the literature that you have a direct responsibility in at least 2 cases of cardiac diseases. It also shows that you can influence the cortisol level and enzymes in the liver of your people so that they will be prone to stress, to fatigue, and also to liver diseases. It also shows that sometimes they might say, Ma'am, sick leave ako. And you might probably have to ask yourself, did I contribute anything to that? Masakit ang ulo ko, masakit ang kasukasuan ko. We have to think about those things because we sometimes underestimate our impact to our people. And sometimes it goes beyond the physical manifestation, more on the mental and well-being side. So a lot of food for thought for us to think about. That's why in GSM, as an HR leader and HR practitioner, I would like to inculcate in our leadership ladder as well the importance of wellness. And it's great that in Baker and McKenzie, we'd start at the very top. I would just like to have an anecdote to share with you that in our topmost executive program, we actually select some of the global directors and directors to fly into Colorado Springs for our BLP, or Business Leadership Program. And it's not just your ordinary leadership program where you just stay there for a week and try to see what's going on in the market, what's new in the legal world, how do you manage work, what are the numbers telling us. But lo and behold, the very first day at 7 a.m., we were asked to line up, take off our suits, and just be in very comfortable inner apparel, because there will be blood extraction, there will be body mass index analysis, our glucose, triglyceride, HDL, LDL will all be measured. And there are different paraphernalias to measure your body fat here, here, and here. So I'm telling you that if that does not drive health consciousness at the very first day of a leadership program, nothing will. It also emphasized that you as a leader would have to take care of your health, because not just for yourself, for your family, and for the people that report to you. And because it was very compelling for me, I was fortunate enough to be one of those people to be flown to Colorado Springs to undergo that 5-day program, intensive program. Immediately after the talk in terms of diet, I turned vegan. No meat, milk, even cheese, no nothing. Pure plant-based diet. And I was able to sustain that for 3 months. It's hard to be vegan in the Philippines. But I'm trying to be. So now I'm vegetarian. I can now eat cheese and milk. But as much as possible, I try to avoid a lot of steak. So that is the impact to me. And I try to be more conscious now on how I would interact, interface, and also influence the diet of my people. Not imposing, hopefully strong influencing. The second one is in our leadership program, even beginning from the very bottom, when we have our emerging leaders program, we already inculcate wellness. It's not just about wellness in terms of exercising, eating well, but how do you deal with people? How do you interact with them? What are the proper words to use? So that you will not isolate them, you will not brand them, and there will be no prejudice. So it's really a more holistic wellness that makes us more at ease, more true to ourselves, so that we can connect more. So that's the kind of wellness that we are fostering in Baker and McKenzie. And of course, we give coaches to everyone, not just to our executive leaders, but to everyone. Just lift up the phone and ask someone to help you, whether that would be financial. Of course, we don't do loans, but we help you in your financial planning. If you have conflict within the family, we also coach you. So coaching is for everyone because we believe that everyone is a leader. Last but not the least, we model. At least we try to model wellness. My boss, Gabriel Pardo, unfortunately is not able to come. He's a triathlete. And if you can see him, he joins Ironman, and it's a very good embodiment of actual physical wellness. Even dietary wellness, because he's also strict in his diet. And then there's a lot of embodiment in terms of modeling how to approach things the healthy way. And yours truly, because every quarter we actually do a step campaign, and then 500 people actually joins us every quarter or so. And I'm proud to say that I'm always landing in the top 3 places. So last quarter, I actually registered about 625,000 steps in a month. So that's equivalent to about 21,000 steps. I'm lucky because I actually just walk from the office and to my house. So it's relatively easier for me in BGC. And it's a nice walking district anyway. And wellness, again, is actually distributed among the leaders. And I said, wellness is not just about you being physically fit, but you being accepted, you being able to feel belonged in an organization. So in terms of CSR, that is being led by our leaders as well, our LGBTQ community as well. So all facets of wellness is actually covered and headed by our leaders. Having said that and going beyond, and AVIC actually told us that there is a lot of pressure in terms of time management and task management. But HBR actually told us it's no longer about task and time. It's actually about managing your energy level. Do you believe that? Because right now, it's really hard to put a delineation when work stops and when family time kicks in. And sometimes it all depends on where you can squeeze things in, where you feel more comfortable, where you feel more balanced and more harmonized. So 3 things that I'd like to share with you in terms of managing your energy: radiate energy, recover energy, and regenerate energy. Let's go first to leading by radiating energy. First and foremost, be present. How can you be present if you're sick? Right? There's nothing more worse than a bad boss than being an absentee boss. HBR would always say that. Between a bad boss and an absentee boss, choose the bad boss. Because at least you know that there is interaction and you know that it's his fault. Make your presence felt. You create impact and participate. Be heard, be seen. And you can only do that if you have energy. Di ba, more energy, mas happy? And you know, as leaders, if you create that energy, your people, whether directly or indirectly, would just catch that fire. You have that kind of influence. You just don't know it. And then be active, exercise. Not only because you want to be fit, but because it makes you really happy. It lowers down cholesterol, brings up oxytocin, and everything that's good in our body actually is firing up. So if you can't be kind, if you can't be holy, just be wise. You're doing it for yourself as well. And then model energy recovery. So when you're sick, recover, rest well, because it gives you time to recuperate, to think things through, and then become more productive once you're ready to come back. Sleep. Sleep is sometimes one of the most underrated requirement of our body. And sometimes, and it's difficult because the philosophy nowadays in terms of industry and corporate world, the more hours you put in, and sometimes you get rewarded for it, but not necessarily so. It's very important for us to get enough sleep. And sometimes this is actually relative to you. Sometimes 5 hours is enough. Sometimes 6, 7, or 8. You would know what is right for you as long as you don't feel that you are drained, that you are productive, that you're contributing. Please do sleep. It makes you more productive. It makes you more creative. It makes you more innovative, like what Michelle said. And there's a less chance for you to get Alzheimer's by the age of 70. Okay? Sleep deprivation actually kills your neurons. So remember, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. If you want to be still alert, active, and intelligent by your 70s, please take enough sleep. You owe it to your grandchildren. Rest and take your vacation. It's very wise because people who take 10 days of vacation or more actually get greater pay, greater increase, greater bonuses, and they get promoted twice as much. So I hope that you're seeing the logic here, because those people actually know how to balance their time and work smarter rather than longer would actually create greater impact to their community, to themselves, and to their families. So these are things that we have to consider, and sometimes levels are different from one person to another. So this is a personal discernment. What is enough? What is balanced? What is harmonized for you? This one is very important as well among the three, because sometimes what is important in terms of leadership now is, what are the buzzwords now? EQ, emotional intelligence, mindfulness, introspection. You can't do that if you don't reconnect with yourself. How can you be a good coach if you don't even know what quirks you have inside of you? And how will you recognize that if you are not able to have time for yourself? Reconnect with yourself. It can be very powerful. There's nothing more powerful in a leader than a leader who is actually mastering himself or herself. Reconnect with others. They said that actually it's not being healthy in terms of not smoking, not eating fat, or not drinking alcohol. Those are predictors of long life, but they figure at the bottom level. And then those who actually have enough sleep is number 4. Those in number 2 and 3 actually are those people who are able to have very strong family ties and support system. That's number 2. But the number 1 correlation with people who are actually living longer lives are those people who are predisposed to be open and to be ready to talk with people without prejudice, that would embrace everyone. So even any people, bystander, if you're open to say, hi, hello, how are you doing today? Those people actually smile more, are the people who would actually live longer and would have higher quality of life. So this lessens prejudices. This lessens actually all of the biases that we have, and becoming more and more open to each other, inclusive. And that's what we want, actually. And those people tend to live longer as well. So that's a byproduct of that. I don't know about you, but I would like to reconnect from my source of energy. My sources of energy is something that is infinite, that I cannot supply, and nothing, no earthly thing could actually supply. I don't know what that is for you. We have our own sources of energy. If you don't know it right now, please try to find out, what is my real source of energy? Para kanino ka ba gumigising? Para saan ka gumigising? Who is your master? You have to find that out because in the midst of change, of chaos, political turmoil, economic issues, you have to have something stronger than you where you would have to anchor yourself and all of your beliefs. So with that, I would just leave you with 3 actions. Know more about health and preach about health because preaching or teaching is twice learning. It will benefit you more. Be an active leader. But at the same time, know when to stop, know when to rest, know when to take a vacation. And then, please ensure that when your people take a vacation, really give them vacation. Thank you so much. Be well. God bless you.